Hey, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 1973 film Don't Look Now in its Criterion Edition 4K edition. This is a movie I saw at the beginning when I was getting seriously into movies in college and everything. Everybody recommended it at the time. It's a 1973 psychological thriller, I guess, with some supernatural overtones. It's very well known to have Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie in it. It's a Nicholas Roeg film. If you've ever seen a Nicholas Roeg film, and he's directed quite a few, they're usually kind of surreal, interesting, plays with time, plays with recurring themes, and there's a lot of that in this. This is considered to be one of his quintessential films. It did not do very well when it first came out. It was very controversial at the time, but it has grown in its reputation, and actually at the end of last year there were like 150 movie experts that voted it #1 British movie of all time. So what does that tell you? It's at 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and like 95% on IMDb or whatever. It is a classic. Got to be honest, when I've never owned a copy. I did see it back in college. I haven't seen it in years. And when Donald Sutherland passed away, I went on Amazon and I ordered a copy because I've always wanted it. It's been in my wish list, but they were on sale at the time. And when it came, it was crushed. And I was going to watch it that night. I was like stoked. This was just a few days after he died. And it was crushed. And it obviously happened before it was put in the package because the other things in the package were fine. So I did the return thing from Amazon, and they took it back and sent me another one for free, and it came in perfect. But anyway, this kind of cooled my excitement to watch this right after he died. I watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers again. I watched National Lampoon's Animal House again. Because I wanted to watch some Donald Sutherland. But this one I was really looking forward to because I hadn't seen it since I was much, much younger. And again, today it's considered to be one of the best British movies ever made. So Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie's characters are getting along. They're having a great time. And their daughter accidentally drowns in the backyard. And it's a horrible scene. I mean, Donald Sutherland, this is some of his best work. He did an incredible job. So they decide to travel to Venice, and he accepts a job to restore a church. During this, they encounter these two sisters. One of the sisters claims to be psychic, starts warning them that there's danger coming and all that. He kind of dismisses it. She kind of believes it. Then things go from there. I don't want to give any spoilers. The movie is an exploration of psychology of grief, the effect death of a child can have on a relationship. I read that off Wikipedia. That's not my description, but I couldn't sum it up any other better way. So the movie plays with the perception of not everything is as it appears, which is the theme of the movie, kind of why it's called Don't Look Now. It's based on a 1971 short story. And there's a lot of recurring themes, broken glass, water, the shimmering lights, that kind of stuff that repeats over and over. And all of it kind of has meaning and layers. So I probably didn't get most of that when I was a college student. I was just getting into how movies are edited and put together to have other meanings. In some of the extras I was watching, as this Criterion collection on the Blu-ray, there's quite a few extras. They talk about, some very influential directors talk about how he played with time. He was the best at playing with time to kind of juxtapose different scenes to show you past, present, and future all in the same scene. And I didn't really know what that meant until we got to that explicit sex scene in the movie. He's intercut it with them getting dressed afterwards, getting ready to go out. And between the cutting back and forth, you get a very intimate picture of these characters. It's not really that long a scene, but you've got some nice music and some very intimate things going on, and them thinking about it after while they're getting dressed and talking to each other in the bathroom and stuff like that. Then it cuts back to some more of the sex. And it does look very explicit because obviously the actor, and actress are very naked in the performance, and it does look pretty realistic. That's why it was controversial in 1973. But it's an important scene in the film because it shows the intimacy of the relationship and how strong the relationship was even after the tragedy, right? So as things kind of go off the rails in Venice with the characters and more things are introduced and there's other things going on in town and that kind of stuff, they keep adding more layers until you get to this basically surprise twist ending. Didn't see it coming. Hadn't remember. I knew it had that kind of ending, but I wasn't really sure exactly what happened. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, and the way it's edited again kind of re-shows you the whole movie, and you kind of have to rethink things as it's ending. The 4K transfer is spectacular. It looks like a 1970s film projected on the screen. It looks like it would have in the movie theater. That's what Criterion Collection is really good at. It has an incredibly high bit rate. It had Dolby Vision HDR. There are some grainy scenes, especially the nighttime scenes, really grainy, but this was filmed on film in the 70s, and this is how it looks. And I'm glad they didn't do too much cleaning up on it. It does look pretty pristine. Studio Canal, I think, did the restoration. Their stuff is always pretty spot on. It may not look like a modern day movie, but it looked as strong as the Twister I watched the other day, and that's a much more recent film. I think it is a great film. It wasn't one of my favorites when I first saw it because, again, I wasn't probably emotionally mature enough to understand what was going on with the relationship and the effect that kind of event would have on a relationship. Watching it now, the natural relationship between the two, the chemistry between Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie, amazing. That makes the movie right there. Donald Sutherland doing some great acting, some haunting looks at the camera, the whole scene where he finds his daughter deceased, some of the things that happen later where he becomes more obsessed. He telegraphs all this in scene. He does not have to say a lot. Julie Christie, the same. She's just both great actors and actresses at the top of their game in this film. And Nicholas Roeg was still finding his way, and things were still experimental. It was the early 70s, and the studios would release something like this. I don't know how much money it made back in the day, but it's gone on to be quite the, more than cult classic. Critics have called it the best British movie ever made. I don't know if I go quite that far, but I really can't think of one that's better. It's just, it's so well made. It's so well crafted as a film. And the acting is spot on. The music is spot on. The editing is spot on. It works. I watched all the way to the end, watched the extras, highly recommend the Criterion Collection. And again, it's a psychological thriller, a bit of a slow burn, big twist ending you don't see coming. A lot of things don't work out the way they appear at first. It's kind of the whole theme of the movie. If that sounds like your cup of tea, it really is a fantastic film. It's not everyone's quote-unquote cup of tea, but I was in the mood for it, and it hit me just right. I wish I had seen it a couple weeks ago when he passed away because I was really in the mood to watch this one. But still, great performances, great movie. Doesn't matter. It was really fantastic. So don't look now. The 1973 classic is available on the Criterion Collection 4K. It's more than worth it. It does have mono sound, which was fine. The sound was a little bit better than Fist of Legend, which is something I just reviewed. My reviews got a little out of sequence. I apologize for that. I watched Boy Kills World, and it's better to get new movie reviews up earlier, so I pushed back some of these podcasts, and now I'm not really sure of the sequence they're coming out. So hopefully you have checked out the Fist of Legend review. That's an import 4K. And this is a nice 4K from the Criterion Collection, available domestically and currently on sale. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. This is a podcast. Thank you for listening to it. My links are below if you'd like to support the channel. A lot more podcasts are on the way. I just completed my 700th one, so thank you very much for listening.